she's a sweet girl, but guess what? She has a power over you that you don't have over her. Jonathan Majors just learned that the hard way. No matter how much money you got, no matter how great your career is going, one of them can take you down. So the thing is, at the end of the day, he's not prioritizing his community when he chooses to be with her. So I would say, instead of trying to figure out how to build with us with your non-black spouse, why don't he just go and try to change the minds of her people, since he thinks he's so good at it, to change her mind and to win her heart over? Why doesn't he just go and try to teach them how to not be a burden to us in their spaces? If that's where you want to go, if you want to go into their community so bad that you're willing to love one of them, then go in their community. Why come to the pro-black side of the table and say, oh, well, I'm pro-black with y'all, I just got me a white wife? Like, what's the point? All right, let's try it again. What up? What up? If you're joining us on YouTube, my TikTok is where I go live. BIGBROLGND. That is where you can find me. Feel free to come to my TikTok page. Tap the right corner of the page, the top right, where you'll see the notification bell to be notified when we go live. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a replay, so feel free to catch us live. Everybody else, what up? What up? What's going on? Peace and power. Come on in, come on in. Back up again. Back up again. Let's see what happens this time. What up, what up, what up? Algorithm things, you know what I'm saying? Son of Al-Kabelan, what up, what up? Man, people don't know about Al-Kabelan. People don't know about that. But people also don't know that the word Africa might not be a Greek word. Do y'all know that? Africa, I've heard it over and over again be said to be a Greek word. There's evidence of the contrary. There's evidence to say that Africa was actually the word that Egyptians or ancient Kemetic people called the continent. I think Afruika means the birthplace or something. So that's interesting. Sheikh Anta says Al-Kabelan was the indigenous name. Afruika might be after Egypt was colonized, which is why he said that. I don't know. But it's interesting that, they always say Afrique. The Greek word is where Africa comes from. But to be honest, I've done my research, and it looks like all the linguists are like, they don't know. They don't know why it's called that. They don't. There's no consensus. There's no clear, this is who named the continent, which kind of makes sense. Like, there's a lot of mystery around Africa, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because Africa was here first. So, of course, that's going to be the most mysterious continent, right? Because it, like, everything else was named later when things were being named. Africa was first. So we don't know where those names come from, because it goes back hundreds of thousands of years, as opposed to other continents would go back tens of thousands of years. Like, Africa goes back. So, that's the thing. Kind of interesting. Shout out to all the Africans and the Pan-Africans. What's going on? And I guess I'm gonna bring some people up, because I think the algorithm is just not gonna work with us today. So I'm gonna just bring my people up here. What up? What up?
Holy Spirit activate.
Peace, Queen. Um, I Pobata. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I am 33. I'm black, and they, him.
All right, talk to us.
I guess I wanted to ask, what kind of consensuses have you guys come on with this conversation up until now? I don't want to to sort of like repeat, dead conversations.
Um, Up until now, we pretty much just got started. To be honest, um, we didn't say no one's come up really. No one else has come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it is possible for those of us who have or are dating white people to claim to be pro-black, only because I think that you don't always necessarily come to your like personal sense of like liberation or personal sense of like wanting a pan-African community um like in the right time, right? And it also like doesn't necessarily jive with like necessarily who your family might be or like who your network might be. And I think sometimes liberation and sometimes being pro-black looks multi-generational. And so like you can be like more pro-black than like your parents, but not necessarily like, you know, the most like pro-black person. So I don't know. I think sometimes making it a bit of a binary kind of makes life look way less dynamic than it actually is. I don't know. Yeah, that's my perspective.
Okay, so because you started off like I feel like you were thinking more, and then you started talking, and like you skipped over certain things that you had already thought because you said you kind of just jumped into it. I didn't even know which question you were answering. Um, you just said it was possible. So, all right. So you're answering the second question, right?
Correct.
And then you were saying you could marry a non-black person, um, and still be pro-black and be more pro-black than your parents.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that like being pro-black and right like being for the Pan-African or larger international black movement is multi-generational, right? So like you can be born into certain situations where maybe you had parents or you had community that wasn't necessarily pro-black, but as you're aging you can become more pro-black yourself. um and I think you can even have an awakening like after you've married or maybe after you have children, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're less pro-black, right?
All right. So let's say you had your awakening, right? You're in South Africa. Are you aware of what's going on in the situation in South Africa? They're having an election year this year.
Yes, I'm aware of what's going on in South Africa.
All right. So you got the descendants of the Dutch colonizers that the black South Africans want gone off the land, like bye, right? Let's say you married your Dutch colonizer wife and they want her gone. You as a black man, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Do you leave with her? Because leaving with her wouldn't be pro-black. That would be not fighting with your people. Um, do you try to convince black people that this colonizer is a good one and can stay, at the risk that she might say something ignorant and ruin all of that because she just doesn't know. She just didn't know, you know. Or like, do you stay behind and not be in that relationship and tell her to go back to Europe? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I think those are like really really like heavy questions, and like I don't want to speak for somebody who's from South Africa because I'm not, but I think I want to speak for like being from America and like being from um like the suburbs in the South. And I think as being a member of the diaspora, right, and being somebody who
It's a fancy way to not answer anything I just said.
No,
Because you're not
trying
speaking
to,
for anyone. We're talking hypothetically. I'm saying, what would you
well,
say
then I
about
don't
that
think
brother
it's
in that situation?
I
Like in
don't think
that
it's fair for me
situation,
to judge somebody else's like struggle
it's not
with.
somebody else. This is a made up person. So it's like you feel bad for this made up person. Like we're talking about social dynamics in which there is an oppressor on oppressed people's land. And there is a decision that needs to be made between this black man in this scenario and choosing to side and prioritize what is best for his people over what is best for his family because he is now married into his oppressor's family. There's going to be times when what is best for the oppressed is not going to be what is best for the oppressor. Being married to an oppressor as an oppression is continuing to go on with your people. It's going to put you at certain junctures where you now have to choose whether you're going to be pro black or pro your life, your family, who you choose to love. And that is where it compromises people from being able to be pro black. Understand, black consciousness is the rejection of white supremacy and the retention of Africanity. And pro blackness is prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interests of building within the black community. So even if you decide with your black consciousness to start to reject white supremacy at its highest, most intimate parts of your life, how can you do that and still look at someone that benefits from that same white supremacist power structure, whether she wants to or not? She's a sweet girl, but guess what? She has a power over you that you don't have over her. Jonathan Majors just learned that the hard way. No matter how much money you got, no matter how great your career is going, one of them can take you down. So the thing is, at the end of the day, he's not prioritizing his community when he chooses to be with her. So I would say, instead of trying to figure out how to build with us with your non-black spouse, why don't he just go and try to change the minds of her people, since he thinks he's so good at it, to change her mind and to win her heart over? Why doesn't he just go and try to teach them how to not be a burden to us in their spaces? If that's where you want to go, if you want to go into their community so bad that you're willing to love one of them, then go in their community. Why come to the pro-black side of the table and say, oh, well, I'm pro-black with y'all, I just got me a white wife? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I think I listened to like everything that you had to say, and I think if we're talking about situations where there's like, a clean oppressor and oppression relationship, then everything that you're saying makes sense. But I think a lot of us, specifically in the diaspora, don't have that specific clean relationship to our oppressor, especially since we
Yes,
are.
we do. A lot of us want to ignore it because it's more comfortable than facing your oppression head on.
I mean, I think again, like I haven't been able to complete anything that I'm saying, and I'm not a person who's not well versed in the things that I'm talking about, right?
I'm not
I think
either.
what I'm trying to get at is that when you're a member of the diaspora and you're not indigenous to the land that you're on, right? When you have participated as a member of the colonizing class, whether willingly or unwillingly, right? Like how our ancestors in America have, then I don't think it is necessarily as clean as being a participant or a indigenous member of South Africa, right? I think.
So you're saying it's not as clean. First of all, clean is a wild word to use for oppression, but let's go with you, right? Clean. Okay, so clean oppression means it is clear that there's an oppressor, and it is clear as day that there's an oppressed people. We don't have that in America.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that as Black Americans in America, we have also participated in the oppression of the Native Americans here.
Oh, stop it. No, we didn't. You
Yes, we
need to
did.
stop it. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We didn't. Name where black people have benefited from the oppression of Native American people, benefited, not had concessions, not used Native American land as a survival mechanism. Tell me when we enslaved them. Tell me one black man that had a Native American slave. There's
I
an
never
entire
said that
book
we
on this.
enslaved them.
All right, well they've enslaved us.
They have enslaved us.
All
I'm
right,
not
so
saying
then
that they
how are you
haven't.
going to sit here and say we took part in their oppression when we didn't even just choose to come to this land? We've been kidnapped, and you're saying after we were kidnapped and forcibly worked for not only a white man but also them, that we now had the power to oppress them? Please, man.
Because, again, as I'm saying, when it comes to oppression in the way that it intersects in a lot of different ways, right? Settler colonialism and exploitative labor colonialism have different mechanisms. The mechanisms that were used on us with labor exploitation and slavery, which the Native Americans did perpetuate against us, we also perpetuated settler colonialism against them. Whether intentionally
No, we
or
didn't.
unintentionally.
No, we didn't. We didn't
Yes, we
choose to
did.
come here. That's not settler
Whether
colonialism.
intentionally
If
or
someone steals
unintentionally.
a car, and then ties you up and puts you in the back seat, now did you steal the car too?
No, but if you
So then what are
aspire
you
to
talking
drive,
about? Don't make
so
us
then,
an
but if you
accomplice to
aspire,
something we
but
didn't
if you
choose to
aspire to
do.
drive the
That's
car,
ridiculous. That's a horrible take, bro. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. That's outlandish for you to say.
no, I don't think it's
If I
outlandish at
force you
all.
to do a crime with me that you didn't want to do in the first place, and now your only choice is to survive in this car that I put you in the back seat of, that does not make you an accomplice to what I'm doing. How dare you blame your ancestors for that? Shame on you. Shame on you on Patrice Lumumba Day. Shame on you for that. That's horrible.
No, I
No,
think
no.
you don't know who my ancestors are, first of all. And you can yell at me all you want about
Shame
it.
on you. You came up and said you was a black man. You don't know who your ancestors is,
I
obviously.
do know who my ancestors
Do
are.
you
And I
speak French? Do you
Get
speak
up out of
French?
here.
Somehow we.
Yeah, wilding out. What up, y'all?
Thank you, Gene. You see Gene's just throwing them down paws at us?
Yeah, shout out to Gene, man. Shout out to Gene. I wish more people was here so that we could get a crowd to come in here, but
It went
the
up.
algorithm is going to play with me today.
You
I
hear
don't
me?
know.
Your numbers went up as you started talking to him. You were at 30.
Yeah, but barely. We ain't past 100.
It's okay.
You
Keep
know,
going.
normally I'm be like normal. I haven't had numbers this low as I've had like the past few days. Like I haven't had numbers this low since like I very, very, very first started. At one point, it was like 30 something people in here. So I'm like, I don't know if it's glitching. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna just stay up and talk to y'all for a little bit. Peace, K. What up?
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing?
Doing good. You know, feeling good,
Sorry,
feeling
Nick.
great.
Quit
How are
asking
you?
us that. Somebody who is we?
I mean, but who is we though? Like, we
People.
who? We the people of the Constitution? Because that ain't my folks. Like, I don't know what he means. It's the
I
preamble.
don't know what he was talking about up here. That was wild. Like to say that we oppressed Native America, like we didn't choose to come to America. So I don't even know what oppression. Excuse me. I don't even know what oppression he's talking about. Does he mean the fact that we own land in America now? Is that what he's talking about? Because most of us don't own land disproportionately. A lot of us don't own houses. Like so. And even then, it's us surviving in an environment we didn't choose to come to. That is great. I heard on TikTok you can't say like I sane, you know what I'm saying? I in sane. Like you gotta be careful. I didn't know that was ableist. But
In the
anyway.
membrane? In the membrane?
Yeah, you
That
know
you
what I'm
talking about?
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say
So I
we
didn't
didn't
know
land
that.
on
That's
Plymouth Rock.
ableist?
Plymouth Rock landed on us.
I was told when I
Right.
called somebody as stupid or that that was ableist. I said, well, they was dumb. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's actually ableist as hell.
I
Because
called
that's
him,
actually
I called him stupid.
no. I'm saying you just said the D word.
Yeah, and I said the SLOW too.
Oh, well, I mean, you just said it just now. Never mind. She don't know. That's literally ableist, right? Like, oh, someone. Yeah, that's funny. But anyway, yeah, that's like an episode of Airplane. That's like an airplane joke. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that movie, Airplane. What up, Timothy?
Hey, what's going on, King? What's going on, Queens on the
Peace.
panel? What's going on, Kings and Queens and listening in?
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's going to be a slow show because that's the thing. It's set up to be a conversation with the audience. But if anybody wants to come up and talk with us, somebody new, feel free. I got a feeling everybody in here is people that be in here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Holy
y'all.
Spirit activate. I'm summoning the Holy Spirit activate today.
Mhm.
Ooh. Hello, and we want to welcome you guys in. Come in, have a seat, join us. It's time for you to be educated, elevated, and celebrated. It's time for you to learn the real, the tea, the deep dive into Black history. You guys, go ahead and tap that screen. Tap, tap, tap. Power tap that screen. 10K is gold, and we don't stop there. Make sure you share the live. Invite your friends, your frenemies. Invite your damn enemies. But most importantly, you guys, make sure you subscribe here at Brother Legends Live. If you want the cookie, you gotta give the nookie. At the end of the day, subscribe.
What you talking about?
All right. Here and on YouTube. But first and foremost, make sure you guys add yourselves to the Discord. Yep, I said it. Add yourself to the Discord, b1initiative.org. Can we get y'all to donate $1, $2, 10,000 to bringing down Babylon, where we get things lit, and we're educating to elevate. But at the most part, you guys, come up here. Let's have a discussion. Can interracial dating be problematic? Can a Black man or a Black woman marry YT and still claim to be pro-Negro? And do interracial relationships benefit the Black community? Does cave coochie help solve problems? You guys come up here and let us know. We know y'all are some cave dwellers down there. So come up here and tell us how much you love Sally, Becky, John, and Jesse. I want to hear about it. But until then, I'm tapping out. You tap up.
Appreciate you, Diva. Yeah. So, what's going on, y'all? Somebody want to come up? Feel free.
Yeah, the live that I just got off of was
Mhm.
hilariously problematic.
Yeah. What? Tell us about it. I see you talk about it in the Discord.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean that's a different one, but I literally right before I saw that you had popped up.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a different live by a person with the name of Avani, and they like literally the head of their panel was talking about how white men are the most oppressed, and then it says Black people can be racist, and then I started like probing her further, and it turned into basically just a shit show, like an immediate like I don't have the ability to give you any of the sources that I'm talking about, but I'll DM you later, Tim. And while at the same time I had my sources right on the screen ready to just disprove everything that she was saying.
Mm.
It was just
What happened with Rachel Pooh, whatever her racist name is?
oh my gosh, that was hilarious because it's she at first when I joined in, I didn't know that she was a YT woman because like the way that the conversation was kind of worded, I assumed that hey maybe this is either a brother that's saying this, maybe a brother who dives in the caves, and you know I that's what it's felt like at first. But then as the conversation continued, I hear that's a woman, so I'm like okay, and then found out that it's a white woman. And the way that that conversation went, it literally turned into a pity party for individuals that date outside of the Black community. And they're talking about how, you know, the like they receive slack from both sides. And then I brought up to her, I'm like, okay, so did you ever think that the reason why that you specifically received slack from your partner's Black family is because there's actually centuries worth of history that's associated with why they should actually feel that way. And she immediately took it as offense. Immediately offensive, like, oh, well, that's da 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 da, and just turned into a whole thing. And then she noticed that I was calling or showing more grace and more respect for the black women that were on the panel, even if they were disagreeing with me. I'm calling them queens, addressing them respectfully. And so she was like, well, I just want to know, why do you treat them with respect? But even though it's even though I'm the host, why do you treat me this way? And I was like, well, because they're black women. That's like, I'm going to treat them with respect and admiration. Well, I require that you treat me with respect the same way. And I'm like, no, you will not be addressed as queen. You will not be receiving the same respect. You will not. And then the second that I said that, she like disconnected me from the live, blocked me, but then like 5 minutes later unblocked me, which was like, it was weird as hell.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, she's a weirdo. Like Tia was kind of letting me know that you had went in her room. I was like, oh yeah, she's a racist. Like when I asked her, I was like, so what does a black man have that no other race of men has? She just got quiet. And they love calling black men chocolate, which makes me cringe. Like, cause they
Yo,
eating us,
she
man.
referred to her best friend on the live as chocolate. And then her friend referred to her as vanilla wafer. And they said, yeah, every time we go around town, they know us as chocolate and vanilla wafer. I'm like, what? And then I addressed that. And then her friend started to fight me in defense of her YT friend. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know they like to eat y'all up with a little Chianti and some fava beans. You know they like to do that. Look.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal level. That's yeah.
Hey, that you know that ass.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you had that's just a little taste of a TikTok mediocrity. Was this a white person's live?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
She's married to a black man, right, Timothy?
She's not married.
Yeah.
She
Well,
said,
I'm not sure if she's married, but she did state that she's like with a black man.
See,
And,
the scary thing about that is if she does get married and she has children and she has a daughter, just think about the dynamic between a YT woman, like, because she was upset that you were treating black women differently, right? Just imagine that dynamic that her daughter is going to have to grow up with in terms of her centering herself, right? And not just affirming and validating her daughter the way that she should be in a world that's going to not do that for her. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's scary to think about that dynamic that they would have between them.
She gonna be jealous. She's gonna be jealous because she gonna see her as a black woman or a black man. She will. She's gonna be jealous. That's the thing. Like this a YT woman with a black man. You know, I got too much experience in that area. She's gonna wonder why her daughter cannot act YT or why she not following what she got going on. And why she only gets attention because of her daughter. Because it's weird, but a lot of these locks in the cities is black biracial children shaped seemingly. Like you get a pass to be racist, but as long as you have a black daughter, as long as you got a black son, it's like it unlocks a whole new avenue for them, but they're still envious because it doesn't open the door for them. This attention is still not on them. It's still within the realm of, well, you did, have an interracial marriage and y'all are together and that's working out. Like, that's beautiful. Like, bruh, it's all terrible. Behind closed doors, she cutting her child hair off because she don't even know how to do it. Behind closed doors, she telling her daughter, well, you need to act like this instead of like those ghetto hood rats that you know. Like, hey, bro, like, crazy.
Can I just say that I followed Timothy into that room? I didn't stay very long because the ignorance was it was at an all-time high. I do feel bad for leaving Timothy in there by himself. But while I was in there, they said the little chocolate and vanilla wafer thing, and I was in the comments like with the bug eyes, like she did not just say that. And then Timothy said, address that and like, tried to explain to her. Y'all know how Timothy is. Tried to walk her through how it was problematic. And do you know this woman came off her mic and was like, well, I don't give a F. I said, I was like, oh no, she didn't. Oh no, she didn't. I had to go. So I was in the inbox trying to tell her about it, but I didn't real because they were like her and the friend. I think it was her friend that was on her profile, and she was on another one or something. It was confusing, but and I didn't know who she was. So it wasn't until I was talking to Dee about it, and she was like telling me backstory on the woman. I went to her page, and she has a whole lot of problematic videos and like racist things that she be saying. But then I also noticed that like I feel like she kind of cosplays a black woman. Like I don't know if any of the rest of y'all like agree. When you look at like her thumbnail, she kind of looks like a light skinned, kind of like Robin Dixon ish kind of woman. And the room, if I'm not mistaken, that she had last night was about something about interracial relationships. Like I forget what the exact topic is, which is why part of the reason why I was confused because like why I don't know, I was like confused about it, but it was a very interesting space. Like, mm.
That's what I say. It's the blackfishing. Like she got
Mm-hmm.
mad when Timothy didn't treat her like a black woman. She really did. Like you got kicked off, got blocked, then got unblocked because there's still this innate interest to have this connection with you, even though she don't even know you, and she felt entitled for you to
Yeah.
treat her the same way. That's why I say this. I already know that door. Been closed it like that. It just that weird thing. Like they try to appropriate it because they want that position, which is why she's with a black man, which is why she wanted a black man that's like Timothy. But baby, you never gonna get one of them because you're white tea. You can't have a pro black spouse.
Hold on, y'all. Moni and Moni, come up here. Did they bring her up? Bring her up. Like I think she got enough followers because I want to understand what she talking about. She does. Come up. She said, I'm learning how to braid hair and twist because I'm ready for my child. So I'm
Request to
assuming
come
she's
on
ready.
up. Request.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying request to come on up. Shout out to Smash the Patriarchy.
I was gonna say that's probably also why the girl that we were just talking about. I think that's why she probably has a what she considers to be a best friend. I do not look at that as a friendship, but she's got a black woman co-signing everything for her so that she feels as though she's not doing anything wrong. She's probably also trying to copy her and mimic her and imitate her so that she can, just take on this mask or veil or whatever she's trying to do. And it's unfortunate, but her friend doesn't realize that she's being used. She's being used in that dynamic. That is not a true friendship in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you could very vividly tell that it was like it was weird to listen to. It felt like her friend was just deep in the sunken place. And she just the way that she would respond to certain things about just getting like this visceral aggression towards me calling out her friend, like clearly for things that she was saying. And then the whole panel started to be like, well, no, she didn't actually say that. And I'm like, well, I literally explained the whole history of something. And then her first response was, I don't care. But then the black friend said, no, that was me that said that. But then later on, the actual host itself also said, I don't care to another historical thing that I had mentioned. So it was weird. Like it was just a mental gymnastics of like, hey, she's my best friend. And I'm going to go ahead and like she.
I'm gonna tell you this though. I'm gonna tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
And this was spoken to me from an elder, so take it with love. To the biracial brothers and sisters, when you go and you try to talk and convince or try to even have these discussions with Europeans, it's always going to be done in bad faith, and you're going to get nowhere. But the effort that it takes you to try, it's just pointless. The elder told me when I was hosting a live and it was a biracial. I'm not sure if it was a brother or sister. But the she told me, she was like, that's the other half talking. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? And she said that, because you're biracial, you sometimes feel like you can win over the other side. And that's part of the problem is, not saying that you even want to try to convince her, but to be in complete cognitive cognizance cognizance. Is that the word?
Cognizance.
The opposite of cognitive dissonance is to understand that your words are falling on deaf ears and that you ain't going to, like that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where I've noticed a lot of biracial brothers and sisters try it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
Mhm.
that's the thing, that's a hard thing for me to describe to one of y'all, but I would say, man, when it comes to those conversations, I would just stay out of that type of mess, man. I'm not saying I'm talking for myself, but ain't no convincing them, man.
No, I'm 100% in agreement because like normally I don't even engage in conversations like that anymore. Like when I was first
Mhm.
starting off, I was more like, well, maybe I can convince a few, but yeah, I like it. I literally
Because
had
it's
no clue.
pointless. Like even if you did win them over,
Mhm.
right now they understand everything you was trying to explain. What they gonna do?
Not a damn
What
thing.
they what they going? They not. It's not helping nobody for them to come and try to. What they gonna do? So it's like, what's even the point? Like Malcolm X, walk right by him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Jesus said about the Roman soldiers in the Bible. I rarely quote the Bible, but he said, "Pay them no mind. Pay them no mind." That's it. Like, they not they're not doing nothing. Now you could go up there, of course, and explain to the brothers and sisters, but you know what I'm saying, the people that's watching, like, you know what I'm saying, that's what I try to focus on, even when they come up on my live. It's kind of like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna show y'all how to tackle this kind of mess. So you could go up there and be informative, but after that, man, they going, you know what I'm saying, don't be
As a
shocked.
as a black biracial, as a mixed person, I feel attacked. Nah, I'm just
Yo, you
nah.
ever see that Atlanta episode?
Yeah.
Atlanta episode where the auntie was like, y'all hate me." And they were like, "Why? Why do you think we hate you?" She was like, "Because I'm light skinned." And Cat Williams started dying.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I had a conversation the other day, and this YT lady said, I think you might have been in the live, Brother Legend, when she was saying that what people can have their preference. But every time I put on a spot, and I want a lot of black people to realize something when y'all having these conversations, stop getting incited. Don't get mad. Let them say what they're going to say and watch how they react when you give them calm and smooth. And so all the sisters was like, they ain't say nothing, right? I was like, so what's the preference? And she couldn't explain nothing. But it took a step further. It's like, it's the issue that YT women are having is being preferred or picked. And they see themselves not being preferred or picked in an area where black women, what they consider the lowest being is, they don't understand it, particularly by a black man, because black men should preference them first. And they don't understand why any black man will be putting a black woman above them. And that within itself has its own historical epigenetics tied to it. But it's this crazy thing to hear and see when people say, let people love who they want to love. People can and do love who they want to love. The problem is that you are laying up with a cave dweller and you don't even know who you are with, because you're going to have to ignore the history and the reality of who you're laying outside of for their convenience to even be comfortable in that relationship. You will suppress your blackness to make that person feel more comfortable, because if you really address the things that have happened to black people, which is the uncomfortable, unspoken conversation, then guess what? That partner wouldn't be your partner no more, because then now he would be blaming you for being a victim.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. I mean,
That's exactly why Becky was mad that Timothy did not call her queen. She was like, "Bro, what? You like them over me? What?" Like
Mm.
that's what I said. When a white tea mother will come to their black daughter or black son and tell them, "Well, I don't have to change my whole life just because I had kids." Who said that? Like you had made the choice to lay down with a black man, but you're making the choice to remain ignorant. What's wrong
mm,
with you? What is wrong with you?
Excuse me,
ain't
Kay.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
First of
that's her
all,
nature.
Kay,
Yeah.
excuse me, Kay. First of all, I'm the Snow Elsa. Okay,
No, no. See, where's Olivia? Where is Olivia? Look,
get Olivia. It's gonna be a problem.
Mm.
Brother Legend ain't yet.
What?
That's,
What you say?
yeah.
I don't know. You keep breaking up.
I said you have not met Olivia yet.
Who's Olivia?
You'll see.
Olivia Pope?
No.
Even better. Even better.
Mm-mm-mm.
Hold on. Let me go get it, y'all. Hold on. Come on, Olivia. They want to talk to you. What they want? Come in. What
Oh
is
boy.
it? Those colored people? It's always how y'all doing? Oh, they're very colored on here. It's all like a rainbow. How you blacks doing? I mean, you people. I mean, you Nick. I mean, you people. How y'all doing today?
All day. Summit Olivia.
Livia's here. You've summoned her. And I want y'all to know I'm the real Snow Elsa around this bitch. And I believe that y'all gonna learn to bow down to the white queens. We are the superior. And I need y'all, for all my white bunnies in the chat, come up here and tell these black girls something about themselves. Because they love talking about our cave coochie. But you know what? Those black men love us. They don't mind that we don't wash every day. It's fine. Trust me. But I ain't never tried them black boys, but I heard about them. But I'm going to go on and meet. Let me get D. D, get your black ass in here and talk to these people.
Bruh, it really blows me that they really, people that sounded just like that and thought just like that is the ones that did the things to our ancestors. They really, it's just like that. I know she's doing something satirical, but the fact is, it was really a reality. It was boys that sounded just like that, spitting with the mud in their mouth, saying these same things, bruh. Man, we're so strong as a people, for real. Like oh man, I could imagine what they would be thinking if they were here right now and seeing what we was doing. Literally, if they saw what happened in Alabama, bruh, like, like imagine, like the type of I don't even know, like if we had ancestral Facebook, like man, I could imagine the smiles on their faces of the things they've wanted to do. You know, we can't, like, even back then, they couldn't even make fun of YT people without them appropriating it. Like the cakewalk, you know, like that came from us making fun of rich YT folks at parties, how they danced, and they appropriated it and made it a big thing that we were making fun of them, and they started doing what we did because they thought it was funny. Like, bruh,
No,
bruh.
better. I told D about this, and now I'm going to tell you, Kay, because you're half Snow Queen. And you need to acknowledge that.
Ah!
That's what makes you special. You know, you stay there with like that black swan, that Tia, you know, you be boring. So, you got to shine a little bit with the snow.
Half Snow Queen is crazy. That's crazy.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. Bruh. No, I'm ashamed.
You need to be proud of your Elsa.
Oh Lord, nah. I'm putting her back in the closet where she belongs.
Yeah. I mean, I found out I had Elsa in my blood when I was 26, 27. My great grandmother. That was a wild day for me. I just sat around quiet all day. People kept coming up to me, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah."
Brother.
I was just tore up. I was tore up about that, man. You know, I went my whole life, and then you're gonna find out your great grandmother's Irish woman, and I'm like,
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? And she's a woman. Now, if my great grandfather was an Irish man, then I would have been a little bit better. It was a great grandmother. So one of the men in my family, like,
bruh, imagine that, but make it half your
right.
family. Imagine that, but
Lyric,
make it
come up here.
noticeable in your skin complexion,
Put
bruh.
your
Like,
request in, Lyric. You got a lot to say in the chat. Put your request in. We know you with a powder puff, so come on up, honey bun.
That, but having to actually have conversations with people who do not want to have you in the family at all, period. Because
you have conversations with them, Timothy? I don't even try to be in the
back when I
room
was
with
a
them. I
kid,
gotta wait till they get unalived on their deathbed. Then I'm taking their
well,
stuff and turning it into a
admittedly,
museum.
Admittedly, my uncles have been cool, and they've actually been the ones that have been the most active of like reaching out, and so
Okay.
they've been all right in that regard. But yeah, my
I gotta
grandfather on
be
my
honest. I gotta find out how that happened. I do. Like I never really
See?
looked into
You
it,
know
but
why, brother?
because this wasn't during the 60s. Like this is my great grandparents and my granddad. Well, the granddad that married the woman who was half, you know, half African, um, or mixed race African. Um, he was born in 1901. So, except the girl that or the woman that he did that with, my grandmother, was like 20 something years old when they got together. So he was like 50 something
Oh my God.
and she was 20 something. Yeah, my grandfather was a player back in the day, but like he was a preacher and he used to dress real nice. Apparently, that's all they've ever told me about him. But he was messed up from like the Jim Crow South. Like he was like traumatized. I know that by how my father describes him. But yeah, I wonder what, because he's the one that got with my grandmother, but what was her life like her childhood? I don't know. All I know is that she disowned my dad at a very young age.
Mm.
She disowned him because maybe, I don't know, the man she disowned him. Like she like, my father was a preacher too, and he went to go, because they was all preachers anyway. He went to go see his mother in church and said, you're my mother, and his mother denied in front of the whole congregation, that's not my son. Like she said, I don't know you, young man. Like in front of the whole church, he finally found his dad, and like, that's like a movie scene. That's wild, but yeah, I wonder what was going on. I don't know.
But it still makes me think, even now, because a lot of the black people that do date outside of their race or interracially, regardless if they're YT or not, any other group, I still feel like it's a trauma response because the world has got, and I could only imagine, like you said, in the Jim Crow era.
Hmm.
And it sounds like coercion and manipulation, honestly. Because again, that power dynamic, like even the power dynamic now is convoluted. But back then, bro,
Yeah.
you were talking about ages when it just now fresh for y'all to even be legally together.
Yeah.
I don't see that still being something consensual. And I hate to say it, like I'm not trying to, because I don't know your family.
Well,
I
I'm
don't know
saying,
if
if she was 20 in 1952 when my father was born, then she was born in 1932.
Oh, yeah.
So that means that one of the men in my family got with a bunny in 1932, and I'm just trying to figure out, because my family's from the South, so like the plantation that they worked on, we own today and grow blueberries on. Well, at least that patch of land. Um, but it's wild to me. Like, how did that happen? Like, was she like a woman of the night? Was she like, I wonder, like, I've seen pictures of her though. So I guess she wasn't. I won't say that about her. But she couldn't have been, high up in society at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, I still think it would have been covert because even the people that
Hmm.
had children that had even a fraction, I mean, even if you were octoroon, like, bro, it's critical. Like, so I
Yeah.
still think it probably still would had to do something with covertly because you're talking about a time where it still wasn't even legal. Because I didn't
That's
know
what I'm
you said
saying.
1930. Like, no, don't
32? Come
even.
on.
They
That's
were
the
still
mid.
in depression. Like,
Yeah.
no way,
That's
no
the height.
way.
That's like the heights of the clan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Bro, there's this book that was written by a man by the name of Iceberg Slim, and
uh-huh.
Dave Chappelle talked
Oh
about it,
yeah, I
and
know
I
about him. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
he mentioned in one of his passages how he had bumped into another black man, and this other
Hmm.
black man basically had engaged in a situation where a YT couple had wanted him to pretty much have sex with this YT man's wife, and the YT man was like perfectly okay with it, and he actually wanted the whole thing to happen, and he was like cheering it on while it happened, and they have like a whole dynamic where they literally like to watch that type of crap happen. And even in my own personal life, I've been approached by somebody
Oh yeah, me
that
too.
did. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's crazy because, bro, like it was the funeral of one of my, like, you know what, I'm not even okay, I'll just say that it was somebody that I knew that was near and dear to my heart, and
Mhm.
one of their family members
Mhm.
approached me after that, this near and dear to my heart's person's funeral.
Mhm.
And this family member that approached me was a white male with a wife and with a daughter. And he was like, "Hey, so like, we had a really great time at the after drinks, remembering her memory and everything. Appreciate it, but my wife kind of finds you attractive." I'm like, "Why are you telling me this?" And it turned into one of those situations, and I was like, "Oh hell
Yep.
no, nope, I'm
Yeah,
good,
that's
sir."
happened to me numerous times in LA and one time in Texas since I've been here.
Mhm.
That's the thing. They will approach you.
Ew. That makes
Yep.
so much sense on why people did that to me. It would be married couples with newborn babies talking about, we saw you over there, and I'm working at Walmart. I'm like, we saw me where, bro? I'm 18, bro. Y'all
Mm,
just had a baby. Y'all been married for years. What's wrong with you? I'm like, what do you mean?
mm,
She wants to do what? I'm like, what?
mm,
I'm like,
mm,
what do
mm.
you mean by that? And they're
They
like,
think
no,
you.
she's perfectly fine with it. I'm like, fine with what?
They think you for sale.
I
Like
guess so. They checking out the
they.
stock.
Yeah. Right.
I got
Yeah.
some nice assets. They wouldn't not look
That's what they
for
thinking.
hey.
Yep.
Gosh,
Yep.
man. The fetishization market is not
She's the right skin
flipping
color.
open over here.
Not quite too dark, not quite too light. Just right.
Mhm.
Perfectly palatable. If you're
Mhm.
yellow, we gonna let you mellow. We
Y'all
ain't gonna
heard about
flesh it down.
the president of the president of Liberty University?
Oh, which one?
Hmm.
The who unalived
No,
herself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who had his wife getting it on with this teenage intern.
I didn't hear that part.
Me
Mm.
either.
Yeah, this is
Mm.
a documentary on it because he's the president of not the president, the dean of Liberty University, and he was close in the Trump campaign, like really close, like Trump's like friend and all that. And this kid that you would always see his wife around, who was supposed to be an intern. It was discovered that they was getting it on. He liked to see his son. He liked to see this young kid doing, his wife, and they would do it like behind stage and at church and all that stuff. But
wow.
anyway, Lyric, what's going on? Peace, Pam.
How y'all
Appreciate you,
doing?
brother.
Hopefully I'm not too loud on this thing. I was commenting in the comment section. I think this is very interesting. I am black and white. My mom is white. My dad is black. And in my opinion, this thing, I really don't care who people love and care about. If they love somebody, let them love somebody. Let them do anything they want. But as a mixed kid, it is kind of hard being light skinned as I am, because in society today, I have to be dark enough to be considered black. And if I'm not dark enough, I'm white in general, or I'm something else. And then on top of that, I'm not ashamed of being black. I'm not. I'm just proud of being who I am as a white and a black person.
Who wants
So
to tell her?
Hey, you know what? I think
Lyric,
I'll take this one. She said she
Go
had a
ahead. Yeah,
YT.
you take this one.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
She got a YT mama? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand, baby girl. I got a YT mama too, and there's no such thing as black and white. Phenotypically, you're only one thing. And I'm guaranteeing you seen as black. But
No,
for you to keep trying to claim the YT side, if you were YT, they would call you that, but they don't.
I get
They
called
other you.
whitewash. I get called whitewash all the time.
Why?
I
Because that's
get
that
Yeah, but
European coming
that's not
out.
because, well, that's not because of how you look. That's because of how you act. And I would have
And you
no,
hit
called you the
type
no,
same thing.
no, it's not.
I
It's
would
not.
have no, it is because like I would have called you the same thing. I could have closed my eyes. I can't even see you right now. I would have said the same thing if you look like Lupita Nyong'o. How you just described yourself, described your situation and your viewpoint on this whole topic. I would have already said, "Oh yeah, they got you in here. Like you got, you know what I'm saying?"
You
You
very
know.
so
much came up here and said that I'm too black for the YT people, but I'm too white for the black
Black.
people. That's the
Yeah.
most middle school, elementary argument I've ever heard of. And only people who say that are the people who aren't affirmed in their blackness. For
Oh
real.
no,
Literally.
no, it's
Because
just
So
that
that.
there's
anti-black rhetoric you just came up with here with just made it all true. I'm whitewashed. What is
No,
that?
no, I'm just saying in society today, as a person of who's mixed, I get called these things by grown black and white people, by anybody in any sort, because I
so
look a
lyric.
certain way. It's not because I act a certain way. I don't know if I act white.
No,
I
it
don't
is because you act a
know.
certain way, and you don't know that about black culture, and that's why even if we explain this to you like a million times, a lot of y'all won't listen because you see things through your Eurocentric version of how things are supposed to be, and then you judge them. But you don't understand that black culture is deeply rooted in African culture and oppression, so we see things a different way. For example, black culture has a type of conflict that we use to come to a consensus. That's why you see a lot of black TikTokers have debate talks. That's why you see rap battles. That's why you see dance battles in our culture. Rap battles actually goes back thousands of years to Africa. Like that's not new. Rhyming to make a point in front of people against your opponent is something we've been doing for a long time. It's an African tradition. So that's a version of conflict that we use to determine a victor. If you even watch Black Panther, he had to fight to become Black Panther. This is the thing. However, Europeans only know conflict to mean violence. So when black people play the dozens, do you know playing the dozens, another African tradition? That's when we pick on you, right? We pick on you where you're weak at, right? They make fun of you. They poke on yo mama this, yo mama that. They picking on you, right? To Africans, that's a way to get you to stand firm in your identity. But to Europeans, conflict means violence. So they have duels. 10 paces, turn, pow. They have, I challenge you to a duel. They pull out their sword. They have world wars. They only know conflict to mean violence. And people that are born with white mothers tend to, the mother passes down the culture. So they have white mothers, they tend to embody the Eurocentric perspective of their culture. And that is why people say you are whitewashed. What they're saying is that you participate primarily in seeing things through a Eurocentric viewpoint, and you don't see them through our viewpoint because your mother didn't pass down black culture to you, and we know why. But that's something you would have to learn for yourself.
So
Actually,
lyric.
my mom
You
actually is
primarily
very.
engage in the black nerd culture.
Hmm?
Would you like say that you primarily engage in like the black nerd culture, like like anime and
Yes.
video games
Yes.
and superhero cosplay?
Hmm.
Okay, so there's a lot of anti-black sentiments that are very deeply embedded in anti-African, anti-black sentiments that are embedded in the black nerd culture. That's literally where it's like a central hub where black people come together in celebration of other people's culture that's
Hmm.
wrapped around anime, that's wrapped around Japanese culture, it's wrapped around video games, and primarily from the anime community, video games, and so on. You're not going to see many positive representations of black people in those
Oh,
dynamics. So
yeah, understandable,
I'm
but
telling
my.
you as an anime fan that's literally what I have seen.
Oh,
And so
trust
as a
me.
Pan-Africanist and as Afrocentric perspective, like that's where it all kind of like that's like a central cultural hub where black people like to go to engage in anti-blackness.
That's true. Okay, understandable. But at the same exact time, my mom taught me Black history. My mom was
No,
not.
she no 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 no
No, no,
no
she
no no.
has. She
That is
has.
not culture. That is not the same thing as culture. That's not. Name one food that starts with the letter Y.
Name one food.
Name a food. Think slow. Think. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. Name a food that starts with the letter Y. One, two,
I don't know any food
three,
that starts with a letter Y.
four.
Why does that? Why does that matter? By any chance?
See how why you have to think.
She don't get it.
That's a
Because
Why
everybody.
staple.
would y'all why
Why
would
does
y'all
the?
put the answer down in the damn comments? Y'all, why would you tell her the answer?
She still didn't know. Yeah, they
She
gave her
still didn't know.
the sauce and she still didn't get it.
Just because. So sorry. So a food that starts with yellow Y determines if my mom didn't teach me culture.
Food is
Lyric,
part
the
of
point.
culture. Yes, how you eat, how you pray, how you worship, how you dance, how you speak. These are the markers of a culture. Like, so food is part of culture, yes.
Okay, but I'm not gonna think of a food randomly because of my mom making food. I call like I
Did
don't
you see how
understand that.
quick everyone put yams down there?
Okay, I don't still understand. I don't think of yams on top of my head with a little Y. I don't do
I know,
that.
because you don't eat yams.
Yes, I do, my guy. With some
Your
brown
mama ain't never
sugar.
cooked no
You
With
yams.
don't
some
eat the
brown
yams we
sugar.
talking about.
With some brown sugar, yes, I do.
With some marshmallows. We ain't talking about no brown sugar. With some
I don't eat
marshmallows. You don't know
marshmallows.
what we talking
I'm
about
trying to
right
freaking lose some weight,
She
my
got
guy.
yam
Marshmallows,
casserole.
sugar.
But wait,
Too much
because
sugar,
it's
too much
still
sugar.
going lyric, it's still going over your head though, as to what he's talking about in terms of culture, right? Because if you did understand your culture, then you wouldn't have even come up here saying but in the comments saying things like I'm black and white and I'm proud.
You would have
Yeah,
known
I'm
that.
black and white.
You would
I'm
have known
proud. I'm
that.
proud of
No,
being
but
both the
lyric,
best worlds.
You're
There's nothing
not
wrong with
both. You're
that.
black and don't want to be it, but it's okay. We know
I
why
do.
that is.
What?
Yeah,
Because-
nah, I
wait.
know. I'm sorry. Your little bit of a white blood don't make you white, and there's no such thing as half white. White was invented by those that created racism in the evil caste system of oppression. They invented it to be pure and absent of all other races. That's why they have the term people of color, because they are people without color. You can't be without color and mixed with color. You see how that works? You can't be a blank slate and have color on you. So if you're not a blank slate, you're not. If I make a painting, is it half empty paper and half paper that's painted, or is it a painting? It is a painting. Then okay, you black. That's how that works. Like, it was made to be pure.
But
It
in the
was made
society,
to
it's
be
so
pure.
different. And the society is so different. I'm
No,
just
it's
trying to
not.
tell you
It's
that I've
not.
seen
No,
There's
it's not.
in
Harvard
college and in
studies on
schools.
how
It's
non-different
different.
it is. It has
It
not evolved.
is.
It has not changed. It is the same as
It
it's always
has. That's
been.
the thing.
Hypo descent still exists. It is on Harvard. I broke it. I know NYC trucking. I just broke it all the way down, but we already know, because she has already been indoctrinated, she's not going to listen to
Not hear
nothing we say
No,
right
I
now.
am
You
hearing it.
got
I'm just
1,
telling you
2,
by
3,
my
4, 5,
experience. It's
6
different
black
people. It's different
scholars.
situations.
Appreciate you.
That's what I'm talking
And
about, Gene. That's
you got all
awesome.
these black people up here just trying to help you out, but instead of listening and learning, you're going to fight us on every turn, because you have been given a sense of entitlement that your mother has, but you don't have the
No,
power to wield it in this
no, I'm not
space.
trying to
Your
do this
proximity to your
entitlement.
white mother does not make you an expert on black culture. She
I
does
didn't
not
say
get to
that
teach you that.
either. I didn't say that I was
So
an
I
expert
didn't
on
say
black
you were saying
culture.
that, but I'm
Lyric,
just saying that
stop talking
you would
over him though. Just
understand that.
listen. Just listen. Just hear what he's saying. Because we know you a
Because
Negro. We know you a Negro. It's okay.
Lyric,
What's
you
that?
can't add regular whole milk to chocolate milk and make it half whole milk and half chocolate milk.
I
It's just
mean, they
chocolate
have
milk.
coffee. They're
That's
called
what it's gonna
half
look
and
like.
half. So that's what I'm just saying.
But you
half and
said I'm
half is
black
half
and
cream,
white.
half
There's
milk.
no and.
I'm
There's
just
no half.
like,
It's not
what?
half and half when you put milk in coffee. If I dare a waiter to come up to me and say, "Here's your half coffee, half milk cup," like, no one's going to say that. They're going to say this is coffee with some milk in it. That's it. It's milk in coffee. That's it. It's not half milk, half coffee. It's a coffee with milk in it. That's all you are. You're a black person with a white mother. You are not considered half and half. No one's going to look at you and say, "Oh, look, there's a half white person. Let me give her half of a loan.
No, because people don't even see that I'm
Let
black.
me half hire her. Let me half arrest her when she gets pulled over. No one's going to do that.
Whoa.
You're going to be
Okay, that was a
treated
big
the
step.
same way other black people are treated, even if it's to a lesser extent. Even if it's to a certain degree, you are still going to get some of those same treatments, including generational wealth. You're not entitled to that as much unless your mama for some reason was able to get the whole bag. Usually when they marry out, the generational wealth don't trickle down to their kids, but maybe you can sidestep that. Some people are more financially privileged. That's cool.
Okay,
You
then
know
if
what?
that
But
was
at
the
the end of the
case,
day,
okay, wait. If
at
that
the
was
end
the
of the day,
case, sorry,
when you
hon.
run for president like Kamala Harris, vice president, whatever, or Barack Obama, they're not going to say you was the first half black president. They're not going to say Meghan Markle looked like a damn snow bunny. She couldn't stay on the royal throne or in near proximity to it. They don't give you power just because you have proximity to that other person. What's really going on is you were born in a world that punishes you for your blackness, and and your
No,
blackness also is what distances you from your mother. So you,
not really.
like
Nothing to
your
do with my
blackness and
color
how
has to
you
distance
treated,
myself from my
how you are
mom.
treated,
No.
you think that defines you. You think in order
I
to be
don't
black,
think it
you have to
defines
be
me either.
treated a certain way. So
Not
if
that
Lyric,
either.
so
Stop
if,
talking.
if being treated does not change who you are, then you having a black parent is the reason you black, and that's it.
See, Lyric, the thing is that what's necessary for you to do as a black woman, because you are a black woman.
I'm not
The
even
world
considered black to some
hold on, Lyric.
people.
Okay, but guess
Who,
what? Guess
yourself?
what? Guess
No,
what? There's
people at my
literally a
To
handful.
college
yourself.
and people
Lyric,
around me.
listen. There's
I have,
literally
I
a
have
handful
people
of
come
times
up
where
to
I
me
have been
as a black
approached by black
person
people
But you're
also.
talking to
Lyric,
biracial people on this live.
No,
Same
I'm
You're
Lyric, I'm
speaking from
black.
literally
my
trying to tell
You're
you I'm
talking
experience.
to
surprised
This
other
is
black
for
biracial
biracial
men.
people
everybody.
on this live.
Yeah.
There's a woman right here with a white mother, and there's a brother right here with a white father, and they both telling you black. How you going to tell them that, like, don't use your personal
Because a
anecdote,
lot of
because
people
their
think
anecdote,
differently.
that's saying that
People
ain't
have
no
different perspectives
different.
on
Ain't no
people.
If
different.
y'all
It's the
don't come get
same
this
thing.
Libra,
Your mother didn't teach you how race works. That's how we know she didn't teach
My
you
mom
culture.
did teach me how race work.
No,
You
she
keep
But that
trying
didn't.
to
is part
other
of who I
yourself from
am and
us.
who I
You
am as a
keep
black person
trying
as
to
well.
other
I still
yourself from
consider
us. Why
myself
is
I
that?
consider myself
Why do
as
you
black
keep
and
trying to
white.
other yourself, Lyric?
she
Like you say I'm black and white, but people, you say that some people might not perceive you as black, but if
They
majority of
don't. They
them
get mad if
perceive
I wear
you as
box braids
black,
in my hair.
why are you
Because
othering
you
yourself?
act like a. Never mind. She don't understand. She don't understand
Lyric,
how she act and not who she is, and she keep looking to
lyric.
other people for
Real, real,
validation.
real, real
It,
quick, Lyric, what you need to do, what I highly recommend, first and foremost, is that you need to and I'm not saying that you're not educated. This is not an insult in any way, shape, or form. Do
Oh no,
not
you're
take
good.
it
You're
as
good.
an
You're good. I
one
understand. You're
more.
good.
okay. All right. So then what is required is that you need to read the book. It's called
Finish
Post-Traumatic
her.
Slave Syndrome
Praise
by
God.
Dr. Joy DeGruy. You need to read that book. You need to educate yourself with everything that sister says. And then you need to read also the ISIS papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. That'll help you to break down
I'm not
psychologically where a
anti-black, but
lot of
okay.
these paradigms
Sorry,
and
I'll get
these
in the
things are
comments.
coming.
no, you are. Bye. All right. Thank y'all for the Panther pause.
It's gonna be hard for her because she still
Yeah.
love her mama. And don't get me wrong, I have everybody want to love their mama, but when she do realize the things that her mother has done to her, intrinsically, psychologically, and even just trying to get her to other herself, then it's really gonna hurt. It's gonna come down hard. She gonna be like, why does she try so hard to defend it if she's both, right? Why does she come up here and have to defend it so hard? If you're both, then go be both then, right? But why can't you be? Oh, because the world don't let you be both? Oh, okay. My fault. Like I wouldn't know with a YT mother either, right? Like we the same thing. You're a reflection of me. Like literally. Like, but the thing is, I took time to unpack that and learn. And I was, lucky enough to try to get away from that too with being, because I would have been raised by YT people too. Like, luckily that didn't my path didn't turn out like that. But even then, like, she's old enough to be trying to look into this herself because she doesn't even understand hair and food is a part of culture, but she thinks she knows history, right? Like, she don't even know.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I'm not even
cannot
gonna put
imagine a
7 years
white
in the
mother
chat
teaching
because she's
me.
clearly not listening.
She's not going to. This
Yeah.
is this. I was trying to point this out. This is the interesting thing
What
because I think it
woman?
was Moni that was in the comments saying that she's trying to learn how to do her child's hair or something like that. So I'm guessing she's a YT mother of a black biracial child. But so somebody had said, "Oh, I turned around and she had 100 coins." That was the person that sent her those 100 coins. Moni, the mother of a black biracial child, was the one that sent her 100 coins. Moni, if you are listening, this is the result of what you will do to your black biracial child. She wouldn't even fix her mouth to say, "My mother taught me what it is to be black, to be a black woman." No YT woman could ever teach a black woman how to be a black woman in this world. That's impossible. It's impossible. And like just to take it away from her, right? We could see how the education system treats young black children in the classroom, right? 80% of teachers in this country are YT women. And how do they treat black children? They just discard them. They discard them. They don't care about our history. They don't care about us getting an IEP. They don't care. And I see it in my field all the time, right? They don't care about black children getting a parent-teacher conference. They're quick to kick them out. They don't ask questions. They don't do evaluations. They just do away with them all the time. It just She would not fix her mouth to say, oh, a YT woman taught me how to be proud of my blackness and proud of being a black woman. Absolutely not.
Like the crazy part is that like the black
People
nerd
are
community, I made a
special.
video about this before, but the black nerd community in and of itself is literally it's like a central hub literally for black people to engage in their own anti-blackness. Hey, we all collectively agree that we're not about that African shit, so we're just going to go ahead and emulate every other culture that we somehow have some type of connection with because we play video games the most or we go to cosplay events the most, and we think that love is love, and we think we want to go ahead and procreate with anybody. And oh my gosh, I love me a cute Japanese man. There is so many black women that are inside of that demographic that specifically look for Japanese men because the entirety of whatever childhood that they've had has been centered around Japanese video games, animes, so on and so forth. And it's literally them trying to emulate and be a part of a culture that has literally been engaging in the unaliving of black people for the longest time.
For the
And it's
like, do you know about? People don't know about how anti-black Japan actually is. Japan originally was an island of mixed people, by the way. I don't know if y'all know this, but the migration patterns of people that ended up in Japan, there was, you know, the lighter skinned northern Asians, but first there were the darker skinned southern Asians on Japan, and they had their own version of Blanquimento, or yeah, Blanquimento, right? That's the word. They had their own version of Mehararasa. Like they had their own version of that. And at one point they still believed that blackness gave you strength. So they still believed that a drop of black blood made you a stronger samurai. This is written by Sheikh Anta Diop, who, you know, was an anthropologist and, you know, told the story of Japan and how originally it was an island full of biracial people. So, you know, that's a thing. But yeah.
This before when we were speaking about the babies
Hear me,
that got
brother?
unalived when they were coming over in the times of war, and some of them would grape the black women and they would unalive them, and they had pastures of cemeteries for all the babies that got unalived. Remember we were speaking on that? Like, and that's also too why I don't like being called gothic or emo or them trying to put me in a space because of how I look, because those spaces predominantly are not for me ever. They were like, oh, you got that gothic swag. No, I got my own thing going on over here. Stop trying to fit me into a box so you feel more comfortable. Because I'm not going there. That's why I don't hang out. Like, her, that delusion, I'm like, that level of delusion will get us hurt. Especially black people. The darker the skin, the more hurt you would be in that situation. Because it speaks volumes to, I'm black and biracial. And I told you I went to a high school that was private and Catholic. They drug tested hair follicle sample. And when they found out I'm doing certain things I shouldn't be doing, you know what they said? Stop doing it or we're going to put you out. It's supposed to have a counseling session to find out the deeper issues of what I have going on because I'm an adolescent doing certain things I shouldn't be doing to escape reality. But yet, he says, oh, just stop doing it. I'm going to test you again in 100 days. If you come back up, you're getting put out. But guess what? I had a plan for his ass. I'm going to sue him. Look, nah, look. Play with me. Look. But even you see, it's like they will literally throw you away and she think because she got of a lighter skin and how she came up and said light-skinned it. I'm like, girl,
Yeah, that was
stop.
wild.
Y'all
That
didn't
was
hear her
wild.
say she's the best of both worlds.
Yes, she thought she was Hannah Montana.
You got a new guest, brother.
Okay. Goddess, what's going on? Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hi, good evening. 28, Trinidadian black woman, cisgender woman.
All right. Did you say your race?
Yes, I'm a
Oh,
black.
you did. You said black. All right, go ahead. Talk to us, Queen.
I think I answered this before. Interracial relationships can definitely be problematic. And I do want to speak on that young lady because as soon as she was saying how she had struggles being, light skinned, when I came to America, I was treated very badly. I'm dark skinned. In my opinion, and from what I've seen, I haven't seen anyone light skinned to go through anything as far as colorism when I was growing up. Like I said, I'm 28. I was born in 1995. Starting to give dark skinned women and men props for how beautiful we are. So for her to say that, I felt a little bit of my childhood trauma come back up from being called all kind of weird stuff, blackie and African
Mm-hmm.
biscuits, all that bullshit. So
Hey
I don't
man,
feel like
shout out to the dark skinned sisters, the melanated queens. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. So I just felt like she picked the wrong life to come into, and maybe she thought she would get some sympathy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well,
Yeah. No, I know Trinidadians, man. Trinidadian anti-blackness hit different. I'll be honest. I know some I know a Trinidadian brother that's decently melanated. You know what I'm saying? Like very melanated. You ask him, he gonna tell you he light skinned. He gonna tell you he got Indian in him. He's coolie. You know, he Trinidadian anti-blackness. I'll be like, man, that's kind of wild. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at an African right now, and he telling me he not. Like that's crazy. That was wild to me.
Every one of my uncles, except for one, married an Indian woman, not a black woman. So it runs in my family.
Yo,
But I'm with a black man, a dark skinned black man.
hey, shout out to Black Love, man. It's wild. Listen, that's wild. Like I've never been to Trinidad. I've been invited many times. You know, I grew up around a lot of Trinidadian people, brothers and sisters, but I never been there. I don't know what it's gonna be like, you know, because I'm gonna look at these people and say, "Oh, what up, family?" They're like, you know, like who are you? Like, I don't know how that's gonna go. I mean, I think the same thing about Africa too, though, because some of them go by their tribe, like they don't care, you know. So I'm gonna see what that's like. I'm definitely gonna go though.
Yeah, you would enjoy yourself. I'm planning hopefully to take a trip to Kenya in a few years. I would love
Mm,
to, see the real Africa, not what they try to show us on television in America. Like everyone's starving. Africa is a beautiful country. Africa is beautiful.
yeah, Africa is beautiful. Yeah, I hear you, man. I need some of that roti. I need some of that roti, man. I don't. They
Yes,
don't.
bring some tea.
Yes, bring the roti
Bring
for real.
Time I come on live. Right now, I'm frying mushrooms for my husband.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Queen. Appreciate you.
Thank you. And I would like to say to all the Nebras in the chat, we know you're lost and confused. And one day you will find your way to being black. But in the meantime, and in between time, just keep rolling. Keep rolling. And your whiteness with your lost ass.
See, the crazy part is that there's been several instances where mixed African women have documented their own story. Like, well, I won't say that there's been several that have documented their own story, but there have been several that have existed throughout United States history that have very clearly and very deliberately wanted to make their story known. There's this woman
Mm-hmm.
by the name of Harriet Jacobs who literally was talking about her having to worry constantly, as soon as she came of age, having to worry constantly about the advances of her enslaver and how much he was known for impregnating over 10 enslaved African women, and how his wife was also known for selling them away because she didn't want to see a bunch of his children running around the plantation. And that's
Mm.
literally a whole thing. Like, she's the woman that had to hide for years in a crawl space in her grandmother's attic in order to avoid capture because she wanted to run away from that dynamic. And on top of that, she also engaged in a relationship with another white man on a different plantation just so that she can get herself pregnant so that she could prevent her enslaver from attempting to essay her.
Mm.
Like that's crazy. Like the level at which she had to participate in anything else she possibly could just in order to avoid being essayed by him. And it's like, we're gonna
Right.
just go ahead and brush past that history. And then there's this book called titled Never Caught by a woman by the name of Ona Judge. Same type of background. Her father was an indentured servant and her mother an enslaved African woman, and they were on George Washington's Virginia plantation. And we don't know, obviously. Well, obviously, we can assume that it wasn't a consensual relationship because there's no such thing as having sexual relations with an enslaved person and it being consensual. So it couldn't be consensual.
Mm-hmm.
But all we know is that when he did that to her, he never went back to the plantation, but he was also responsible for making George Washington's outfits. Ona Judge ended up using her connections in Philadelphia to escape. And that's a place that I actually went to. Like I went to the first ever White House, like the first Washington House. There was like where George Washington was there, and they since dismantled it, but there's now a monument that's there, and the foundation is still beneath the ground. You can kind of see it from the little display that they have. And
Mm-hmm.
the fact that she had to do all of that in order to escape, George Washington went out of his way wholeheartedly, and he actually even tried to use what would be considered today the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but back then, of course, 1700s, he used his powers as being a president, which technically speaking was illegal for him to try and recapture her back illegally in a state where technically speaking she had run away to, and so her being there made it so that she was legally free. They tried to
Mm-hmm.
convince her to like, hey, come on back. You know, it's perfectly fine. Everything's gonna be okay. And she was just like, okay, fine, fine. I'll come back. And then literally, she already knew. She knew from the jump what the situation was. She wasn't gonna go back. So she literally went ahead, made moves, and disappeared. She ended up marrying an enslaved, a free African American man. They had children together. I'm not going to give the rest of the story because, unfortunately, other things happened. But I highly recommend that. And it's just people don't understand that, like, it doesn't matter what you try to identify with today. Culturally, historically, like you always are going to be considered black. We were enslaved in this country just like every other person of African ancestry because our status maintained the status of the mother. It was passed down through the mother. That's how it was. That's the only matrilineal practice that they even engaged in. It's like, oh, it passed down through the mother. But the only reason why they even engaged in that is because it benefited them economically, because they couldn't essay black men, but they could do that to black women, and black women were forced to give birth to their children, which made
Mm-hmm.
them bolster up their pockets because they were able to sell their own children and boost up their own asset like that. This is the level at which like the history needs to be dived into, and us especially as people who are mixed race Africans, if y'all are not looking into the history and finding out that that's the dynamic that you originally come from, then you are just a fool who was literally falling into every single white supremacist talking point and rhetoric point that your parents try to instill in you, or that your family dynamic tries to instill in you, or whatever community you have found some sort of normal in when it's not really normal has also tried to instill in you. It's nonsense. Stop the cap,
Mm-hmm.
educate yourself, get out of the brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
And our ancestors living worse than Anne Frank, and you gonna get up on Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's internet and still try to defend the heritage in which you did not exist. Literally, you were a piece of property. And even then, when we got to the level where we could have some type of independence and they destroyed it on every avenue, I'm talking about watermelon farms, I'm talking about Jim Crow, and you still gonna get on here and try to defend being both of those things when in reality you can't even be both. But it's so sad. Like if the
Yeah.
shoe was on the other foot, would you be singing the same tune? Like if you were a dark skinned black woman, like think like it's just so sad to me. She just came up here and centered her light skinnedness, as she put it, and literally just tried to say how hard it was for her. And you have no like that was the most colorist comment too. Like even to
Right.
just say that, like you don't even we got a privilege here. You can code switch so quickly and so easily because you did it so quick and easily. Like, but to be
Mm-hmm.
up here and to make yourself the center, that is your mother speaking.
Yeah.
You are your mother's daughter, literally. Because I hate to say that, but it's like, how do you get up here and defend that?
Women weaponize their black biracial children against black community
Mm-hmm.
every day. She's
Yep.
a great tool.
Exactly. These
Mhm.
terms are new. Mixed is new. Multicultural is new. Only a few years
Oh yeah,
ago,
yeah.
you
Biracial.
yeah, these
Biracial
are
is the newest
new.
one.
These
Yeah.
are new terms, and they know they can do this because it further others us and makes us complicit to the YT supremacist agenda and ideology. It literally is. I'm like, even, and I know this person is also problematic, but even Eartha Kitt had the right state of mind to know that she was black. Even her,
Mm,
and she's problematic in herself, but
as
even
hell.
she knew. She said, "Bro, I'm black. This new term they coming up with, this ain't real. This don't exist." She said, "Bro, I'm black, bro. I'm so black that it took me years to find out who my daddy was because they hid the certificate of who actually he was to know that
Mm,
he was my daddy." Like, bro.
Yep.
mm.
And Lyric is in the comments section talking about how her mom potentially has the book, The Destruction of Black Civilization. Like, I guarantee you that based off of how you just spoke up on this panel, your mom does not have that book, nor have you ever even picked up the book yourself. And nowhere is it anywhere on any bookshelf inside of your household. I promise you that. I
I
would be willing to
guarantee. Wait, you talking about
money.
the woman that came up here earlier?
Yeah, she's in the comment section saying that she thinks her mom has that book
She
title,
do
The
not have
Destruction.
that book, bro. She ain't opened it. I know that. I know
She
that because
said probably.
if she opened it, then you would know that that book explains why it is problematic when black people with a non-black parent start to call themselves anything but black and other themselves from the group by which they are also affiliated by the oppressor and oppressed with. So you're oppressed with us, and the people that are not mixed, that created the social construct of race, call you black. So like you're a type of black, you're a mixed kind of black, but you still black, and that's the problem. But that's at the same time, it's just wild because the name of the book is The Destruction of Black Civilization. And it has a subtitle, but the dates in the subtitle are from, I think, 4500 BC to 2000 AD. So it covers 6,500 years of history. And when they talk about the Hyksos invasion of Egypt, that is where you need to pay the closest attention. If you really do have that book, if your mom really do have that book, then turn to the page about Egypt and the Hyksos when they started calling themselves the true Egyptians. Then maybe you learn
Ain't
something.
nobody walking God's green earth calling you white.
That's what I'm saying. This my thing. It's like something in the inside of her, even in her mind, she knows what she's saying isn't right. Because me, myself, personally, I would not be in a live that continues to ridicule me and my ideology. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if I know what I am and what I'm doing, I'm not for to sit up in Becky live where she telling me that I'm other than that. Because I know who I am. Why, like, you deep down, Lyric, it's something in you that's even thinking like, why are you here trying to defend it so hard? It's like you really you want to be accepted because why are you here in an all black space trying to defend that?
Go
You
over there
really
with the
Yeah,
white
want
people and
to.
be
go
white.
convince them.
That's what I'm saying. Like she really wants to be accepted over here, but something in you in your mind still won't let you get over that hurdle that your mother is the villain. She is. I'm calling her out, bro. My mother is a villain. Like everybody on that side of my family is a villain because they are inherently racist, bro. They are. They inherited a system where they have a privilege and you will never be able to profit off that no matter how much you want to. You go somewhere else, they think you adopted.
Mhm.
Baby, like
She want to
Yep.
be she want to be accepted over here because she's not accepted by her YT family. That's
basically.
why she been getting
Mhm.
rejected by her YT family for her whole life. That's why she
Mhm.
Yeah.
want to be
And
accepted over
Lyric,
here.
the only reason why black people seem to be like why you're even claiming that some black people are being anti you is because you keep on regularly engaging in anti-blackness. So why would a knowledgeable conscious black person or a knowledgeable conscious collective of black people want you engaged with them when every single time that they have something pro-black to say or talk about or actually talk about real systemic issues and real systemic problems and the identity and culturally and the appreciation of their Africanity, the first thing that comes out your mouth is how much you don't agree with what they're saying? Why would they want somebody like you around them? Like, you need to educate yourself first on what's going on within your own people groups before you start
Mhm.
going to these spaces and demanding that they accept you. Because the problem is that you're going into these spaces with a white supremacist rhetoric, nonsensical form of what you deem to be normal, and then you're expecting black people to appreciate that and to show some type of like, oh, okay, well, I mean, hey, come on in and join us and yeah, be with us. Listen, you are black. That nobody can ever take that away from you. You are a black woman, period. But you absolutely
Libra.
need to work on engaging in deconstructing your anti-blackness. You
She's
have
a
to do that.
Libra.
Otherwise,
She
you will
is not
never be
black.
accepted by the black community. Like, you
She's
have
a
to do that.
Libra.
Let that girl be a Nebra. I don't know why y'all want to let her be a Nebra. She do not. I don't like people that try to move in and out of blackness. That just really makes my ass itch. Like 1 minute you saying you're black, but you're both. Girl, ain't nobody walking God's green earth called you YT. Not one person. But it's the funniest thing is like this level of attachment. That's why I say that black biracial people can be dangerous to the black community. Because somebody like her is a detriment. Because if you were planning an escape, that wench right there will go tell her mama to go tell everybody. And
Yep.
all of us are being trees. Like that's a
Yep.
Nebra. You make sure you leave a Nebra where a Nebra is at. That thing right there is a danger and detrimental to black community. The fact that she thinks, and she does it at her own convenience. She'll be black when it's convenient for her to say the N-word, for her to do something disrespectful, for her to want to put her hair a particular way. But any other time, she's gonna say she's both. Or she baby, you can say you both, but you can't say you YT.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say you white.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't go to a YT community and have the entirety of that YT community immediately see you as like, oh, okay, you're a part of us. No, because I've been to several YT communities while I was a child, of course, and also growing up even. And still, very clearly, you could tell that there was a distinct difference in how they would treat a person who has melanin in their skin versus a person who is clear and see-through. Like, I'm telling you right now, Lyric, that that's what you have to do. And quite frankly, you being or trying to be accepted by black people right now, it's dangerous for black people because you psychologically are not there. You psychologically do not understand the concept of appreciating and fully engaging in your Africanity. So you not engaging in your Africanity literally makes you extremely dangerous for black people to be around right now. So until you unpack all of that, you will still continue to be dangerous for black people to be around.
Yeah, I better say she know the difference. She just came up here and was acting like she was too white for the black people and too YT and too black for the YT people. If she can understand that level, she knows the rest. She went to
Mm-hmm.
school. She was around these folks. She know how they
Yep.
was. But instead she would come up here and damn us for saying that, oh, well, you whitewashed. Girl, whose fault is that? It ain't ours. Whose fault is that? If you are in fact whitewashed, whose fault would that be that you're anti-black? Answer the question. It ain't us. Maybe it's on your mama. Like literally. I'm like, but I feel for you, Queen, because you really lost right now. Like I
Oh
can't help
snap!
you. I can't help you.
Oh snap! Is this real?
See.
What happened?
Oh snap!
Oh,
I'm on the news right now.
I
It
thought.
said, woman known as Brick Lady charged in Houston after being accused of making whole thing up,
I knew that's
raising
what you was talking about.
42,000 on GoFundMe.
So she was lying. Time to go to jail.
Don't.
Damn.
Oh man, they
I
gonna have a
don't.
field day.
Oh
I
my
don't.
god.
I
They
don't.
gonna have a field
Yeah,
day.
They
Twitter.
gonna have a. You just
Twitter.
thought exactly what I was thinking because
Twitter.
I can hear Speak Now. Yeah, see, I told y'all, like with his deep ass voice.
This is
Twitter.
another Carly all over again. She
Twitter.
saw the
Oh my
baby on the
god.
freeway.
Twitter
Oh.
is
Oh my
on
god.
fire right now, but I think that people are not reading. I'm gonna just
What
say
does it
that
say? Yeah, what does it say?
because there's just some things that don't add up. Like somebody on Twitter was posting the report of like the charges that were filed this month, and on it says that the detective spoke to a friend of the girl who was with her, and the friend said that she didn't see anything happen. Like not that she saw that nothing happened, but that she didn't see what happened. So how can you use that person as evidence that she lied? Then people are saying that there's surveillance tape where it was clear that somebody did assault her with something, but it wasn't a brick. So an assault happened.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, it don't like. I agree with you, Tia. I don't think it was fake because even for that amount of money, like she really was messed up. That like I think that's too convoluted to come up with. And statistically, it is possible that black women, especially of her skin tone, are getting assaulted at an astronomical rate. But the thing is, people are never gonna read, and they're just gonna run with the narrative that they want to run with. That's the sad reality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it, honestly. I mean, I know what he just said, reading the news. But even if it's real, that still isn't prudent to say that they've won the case against her. Like,
Right.
where? Tell me where they've won that trial because I can guarantee if she actually goes to trial and there's evidence of her getting assaulted, whether with a brick, a snow shovel, it doesn't matter. It still was an assault taking place. And also, for them to try to go after somebody for saying the 42K, it doesn't, like, it's not fraudulent. She needed that for medical bills. She was still hurt, was
And
she not?
and whatchamacallit, GoFundMe is refunding all the money. So all the people that donated, they got their money back. And I see people saying that she's on the run. I don't know if that's true or not. And what's the other thing I was going to say? To me right now, everything is just too convoluted because I saw where she had posted the medical, like the report. You know, when you get a report and that says
Trauma
everything.
with the object.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
people are trying to say she had an allergic reaction. I'm like, that's not what allergic
Yeah,
reactions
that's
look
cap.
like. Like, so I had just read a tweet a couple of minutes ago where somebody kind of like broke it down in a way that made a lot of sense, but now I can't find it. Like, basically, what the person was saying is that it looks like the investigation by the police, it has been sort of like corrupted by social media because like so many social media people were like doing their own investigations, and there was people on social media that was calling the cops who were investigating it. So like, I don't know, which kind of at its face kind of made sense to me, and it just seems messy because I don't know how you interview somebody who said they didn't see what happened and say that that's proof that she lied. Like, that don't make sense to me.
Yeah, my
Her
thing is
friend
too,
said she didn't know. The friend said she did not know the two men she got in the car with and would not be able to positively identify the suspects involved.
okay, that's still weird because that still don't mean an assault didn't take place. But my thing is too,
Hmm
who, like, I'm wondering what entity within the police department is bringing this suit, because if you're trying to sue somebody for getting money on GoFundMe through fraudulent means, then that means you damn near got to sue about 85% of people who create GoFundMes.
I'm gonna
Like,
say
I'm for
this
real, you literally do.
for any of the brothers that take this and run with it. I want you to think about something. You go look up all those cases where these black men have had an overturning, serving 40 years in jail for YT women falsely accusing them of rape and not getting charged with shit. And
hmm
then you look at your sisters and say, okay, something happened to this woman. I don't know what. And just stand back. You shouldn't it shouldn't be all this energy thrown at our own people, especially when YT women ain't getting charged with nothing and you lose 40 years of your life.
hmm
They didn't
Yep.
keep that energy with Emmett Till and his accuser, and she was still alive. The whole family
I'm gonna be
was
honest.
accessories. Like,
That's the part of this whole thing that kind of bothered me was that she even brought black men into the whole thing. I'm gonna be honest. Like when I'm around a black woman and a black woman does something to me, I don't sit and say a black woman did this to me. Like I don't even a woman did this. Like we all black in here. Why am I saying? Why am I running to social media and saying a black woman did this? You see what I'm saying? Like to me, like it is a conversation we need to have, but it's just like that's the only part about it where I was kind of like, why is she saying black men? Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I understand. I mean, the men are black, but when it's usually us in a room together, like it's just us around here. Why are we racializing people? Like, why are we putting a race on it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we know sisters are unprotected. Sisters are unprotected by all men, and black men, you know, have historically not protected black women. There's been a reason for that as well, but I don't want to make excuses for them sitting there and standing by. At the same time, why didn't she say there's men right here that like why did she kind of harped on black men and she went on the phone and I was just kind of like I wish she hadn't done that.
well, you know
Like
why?
everything else could have been true, everything else could have went the same way it went if she hadn't done that. It still would have been protect black women. It still would have been all of that. But that's what the men, especially those red pill, what's his name? Tate. I forgot his name. Something
Andrew
Tate.
Tate.
Yeah, like those type of dudes are gonna respond to that because you pinned it on not just men, but you pinned it on the race of the man. And it's just like if we all black, since when do we do that? Like since when do we do that in a
We've
room
been
full of
doing
black
that.
people?
We look at TikTok. There's red pill, blue pill podcasts. We blame each
Mm.
other. We villainize ourselves before the oppressors get even a chance to do it. We want to beat them to the
Because if it
punch.
happened to a white woman,
Yeah.
you know she wouldn't have been like, white men are sitting here, white men are. If it happened to an Asian woman, she wouldn't have been Asian men. Look at all these Asian men. They don't protect us. Like, it wouldn't have happened. But you have to have
Coupled up society
already,
too.
you have to have already internalized, a certain
Anti-blackness.
viewpoint on black men to even come to bring that part up. To me, it would have been the same reaction. Protect black women. For me, it would have been the same reaction, no matter what the man was, but especially because it was brothers in around that. She wouldn't have had to have said like black men. Like, she wouldn't have had to have generalized like that for it to be protect black women.
But
It
this
just
is the thing
because it's
I'm still
us.
confused about, like, because, and I don't remember exactly when this happened, but allegedly the dude who hit her got on a podcast and owned up to it. I don't know if that was ever like debunked or not,
Yeah, I
but
don't know if that's real.
he said he hit her, but what I saw on Twitter, somebody said that he said it wasn't a brick, but he did hit her. So I don't know if like it was debunked that it was him or not, but there's that part. And I will say this, like, I was still heavy on Clubhouse when this happened. People were legitimately making them little stick figures with the brick, like their profile pictures. So this is way beyond like her incident. Like, there were literally people who were saying,
Anti-blackness.
yeah,
It came out of everybody. Like, it just started
yeah,
coming out, and I
yeah,
hated that week
who
on
are
Twitter. I
literally
hated it.
advocating that women should be hit with bricks, like when they don't. Yeah, like it's gotten so big. And I know when you get on Twitter, you gonna see, because your favorite your favorite anti-black corner of Twitter is having a field day with this.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
The tether combo. Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
it's strong
goodness.
right now.
Oh
You
my
see how
goodness.
the view count just jumped up like that when you was talking about her getting hit with that brick?
Oh my
You see that?
goodness.
But that's part of it, because I said they don't be this loud when all the men, like Dee said, statistically are getting exonerated because of Becky trying to put them in a place that they weren't even at. They don't say this about Emmett Till's accusers and villains, and how their family was an accessory after and before the fact by protecting her from doing, like, she confessed that she actually made it up. Like, I'm like, y'all really will. It's because we're the spectacle. We're the minstrel show. We do it to ourselves and they do it to us. We beat them to the punch sometimes, and sometimes they beat us to it. Like, I just don't understand that. Like you said, it's just so anti-black. Like, I'm with you. Honestly, if something like that would have happened, even to, I like to be so. I'm not saying you can't be vocal, but to be the way you were, in the mindset, like, I would have to gather myself in that moment. I would have might have took videos, but in that moment, it would have been a lot going on for me to just get up there and like immediately start harping on black men, because that's not every black man. But
I
when you
wouldn't have
put
even
that
thought
out,
that. I
that's
wouldn't
what
have
I
even
said.
thought
Yeah, when
to
you that
racialize it. Yeah.
and it makes it seem like every black man is not like that. Everyone is not like that. But for you to get up there and do that, it gives everybody the ideology of that they are. It just reinforces the stereotypes that people believe and perceive of us. Like, it's sad. It really is.
Exactly. It literally sets us up for failure. It doesn't, like, the problem is that first and foremost, just so that way, like, everybody listening in, it is absolutely unforgivable for you to be a brother and to think that it is okay to put your hands on the queen. Because at the end of the day, if you are deliberately putting your hands on a queen, I don't give a damn what type of classification you want to try to give a black woman. I don't care whether, well, they're not queens. Well, I keep on hearing that argument nonstop again and again. If you are a black man and think that it is okay for you to put your hands on a black woman, you are a coward. You are an individual who is, like, you do not deserve the classification of a man. You don't, period. Because you're no better than the enslaver at this point. Because if you are think that it's okay to do that, you have 100% internalized the enslaver's normal, and you are now perpetuating it onto your own people. Stop that. So
They
that
don't see that though, Timothy, because they're over
I
here.
know
We're
they
too
don't.
busy trying to dictate who's a piece of dirt and who's a diamond. I know you remember that video with that lady
Mm-hmm.
saying you can't protect dirt, you got to protect the diamonds. Girl, who gave you the platform or place to say what any black woman is, dirt or diamond? Whether she's a SA worker, well, I mean, let me not say it like that. Whether she's a certain type of individual, because I mean that's no different. But you see how they will belittle you based on what they think is the standard. They'll be like, "No, that she's dirt. She ain't no diamond.
Damn.
You can't save everybody." Like what?
She got yo. This is wild. This is wild. They said she has prior charges. All right, because here's the thing
Yeah,
about this
before.
conversation. Here's the thing about this conversation is nothing I'm about to say is going to justify a brother touching a sister. Now we're going to talk. Now let's put that conversation to the side, right? Now we're going to talk about what this is saying. I'm not saying this.
The
That's what this says right here.
history of doing that and getting money.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what they saying. They're saying she has prior charges in Virgin Islands, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I don't know what. Oh yeah. So she's got two of them in Minnesota, and then in Texas. In Texas twice. Is Travis County okay? Williamson County, Travis County, Hennepin County, Minnesota, and Minneapolis and the Virgin Islands. And she's currently on bail for a separate offense for felony and domestic violence. She was charged with 2 accounts of misdemeanor domestic violence in Steele County. So she got other charges and other stuff going on. To be honest, the video got everyone so riled up. I really feel like this is one of those things where like it didn't need to go to the social activism part. It definitely was used to have a conversation about how we protect black men. I think a lot of black men that have half a penny worth of sense are not going to sit by and watch a sister get violated physically. You know what I'm saying? Like get touched. So, hopefully this situation, some brothers out there somewhere learned not to ever be in this situation. But I don't think this is something that we should even like at this point. Let's just see how the court do it. I mean, I'm glad she's okay. They talking about she got hit with a water bottle in the backseat of somebody's car, that it wasn't a brick,
That must have
which
been a
kind of.
bottle because the way that her wounds looked, no, that was something heavy.
Well, I mean, maybe it was a.
That
I
was a
don't know.
hydro flask. That's what that
Oh
was.
I
yeah, like
know.
Stanley
yeah.
cup. Look.
That was a stainless steel drink. Because unless the medical records were faked, she put the medical records on social media months ago, and the doctor said it wasn't an allergic reaction. So I'm just confused at this much point because it's just so much conflicting information.
Yeah.
I'm not reading tweets. I'm reading.
No,
I'm
I
reading.
read the article too.
Yeah,
What
But I
you
Oh,
just
mean?
okay.
see in
Yes,
general.
mute.
From what'd you say, D?
Can y'all mute this woman before I cuss her out? The Ebony
Yeah,
Lovely.
Ebony
She
Ebony
talking too
Lovely
much
is
trash
in the
about
comment
black
section
men.
going
she's
crazy.
talking out
Bitch,
the
I ain't
side of her
nobody's
neck.
mule, weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them divestors be something else, baby. I'll lose my count cussing y'all out.
Hmm.
I'm still
Like,
saying
We
all
ain't doing
the
that.
all the social media exposure around that case, and I'm like curious as to where they'll actually execute the trial, because when something becomes like a social pariah in a case, they have to move it to a county where nobody knows to eliminate bias. But we all know the bias will still exist, but it
Yeah.
definitely taints the image, like T is saying, for the case to actually go down. And I feel for her, because if my thing is, when we are assaulted and things are placed in a light where we're still villainized, it's like now the court is going to use that as a precedent against her, because they're using all the charges she has even in previous that aren't even connected technically. But it's like they're going to use that to tear her down and make her a villain in her own
yeah.
case. They really are.
Yep.
That's the
That's
They
same
do it
do
thing
it all
all
the
the
that
time.
This
That's
is
like
Ellie
even when
like
seal cases are sealed, they do that.
kind of like George Floyd all over again, other than the fact that she's still alive. Like people are basically making the case she got to be a perfect victim to be a victim. Like, what is that? What does any of
Mm-hmm.
these things have to do
Mm.
with her being assaulted?
and then the
Basically.
thing is that
Well,
often,
she
even
has not,
though
and that's why I was trying to put. That's why I tried to separate it, because it has nothing to do with her being assaulted, but it does have something to do with her credibility as far as raising funds and stuff like that. Like it does have something to do with her credibility. Not that she wasn't assaulted, but her credibility as far as how this story is going to appear. and especially in court. You know what I'm saying? Like in
Yeah.
court, they don't care
Money.
about that whole,
He's trying to get on that
gender
money.
wars and all that. Yeah, like they don't care about none of that. They're gonna look at this
Yeah.
and say, you already have a criminal history, and you sitting here collecting money. But then not only that, what you're collecting the money for didn't go down the way you said it went down for people to receive that money. You said it went down through a brick. You said people watched. Now we're finding out you was in a car with a water bottle. Like this is a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
so
the same
that's
thing is happening with
yeah.
like Carly Russell. But like,
Yeah.
see, the thing is that Carly Russell actually did falsify all of it. She invented the whole thing. But
Right.
the problem is that when we hyper focus on the instances where individuals are literally just straight up lying, it completely removes the attention from the fact that there legit are in 2020 there was over 90,000 black women that were reported missing, black women and girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like it removes our
We're gonna
attention
start to
from the fact that
we're gonna
like it
start to
removes our,
help out with that. When we
Mhm.
grow, we gotta get Sankofapedia up, y'all. After we get Sankofapedia up and we get into the activism phase, we're gonna start to help find some of these sisters. Like I got
Mhm.
plans for that too. But let's start with Sankofapedia. But
Yeah.
you know,
I'm thinking about
But
what I've done.
you're talking
What I did
about
is
Timothy. You know the numbers for the girls. Do you know the numbers for the boys?
I don't know the numbers for the boys.
Our
No,
boys are
I haven't.
missing too.
Oh, that's an
Mm,
astronomical rate too. You said missing? Oh yeah. They
Yeah.
definitely they
yeah.
go unnoticed a lot because again,
Mm,
here's people thinking that we need to protect our daughters from these predators, but baby, it's your son you got to watch out for too cuz they
Some
will
because
easily get
the
them.
physical
yeah.
end where we're talking about body parts is
Mm,
where a lot of our young, healthy, in shape, well-to-do young men are being grabbed up.
that's crazy.
yeah.
Well, I I did also put in my video when I spoke on this topic, like it doesn't matter if she was straight up lying. It don't matter if it went down exactly as what she said. A lot of these COONs on TikTok exposed themselves that week. Like a lot of the rhetoric coming from these brothers exposed a lot of misogyny, a
Mm-hmm.
misogynoir from these brothers.
Mhm.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like we all, whether the situation was real or not does not matter. What you came up here and said was real. It came from a real place. Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
3 and 4 right now, because this is
Right?
gonna be the rest of the week.
And it ain't got over here yet. I haven't seen nobody say anything. I'm pretty sure after this, I'll
Oh,
see everybody saying it.
I looked on my computer since we've been in here. The videos have started to go up on TikTok too.
Oh
I know.
goodness.
I was just scrolling. I'm on
Yeah.
Twitter, and I'm just like, why do I see I haven't seen her in a minute. I ain't gonna front. You know, felonies and all that aside, that's one fine sister. She looked good, but anyway,
The
I'm
woman who
sick.
was assaulted?
Hey man, yeah, she
Oh,
fine.
She built like a
yeah.
stack house.
She's a nice.
Yeah,
I
she's
never saw her, but her
bad.
He
knees
said
are
a
good.
stack house, not a brick
But
one,
she's a
D.
beautiful
That's
Listen,
woman.
a brick stack
listen.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, she a brick
And got
house.
a very stereotypical shape. Well, I shouldn't say a
I
stereotypical
ain't even
shape.
talk. I ain't even get to his shape. I seen one video. I've seen a few videos of her
Listen, that
shape, but
lady
I'm just
got it at
talking
the
about.
top and the
I've never
bottom with
seen
a
her shape
small
either, but her
waist.
face is beautiful.
She got
She
she
got
got it
shape.
top and bottom
Yeah.
and a small waist.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah,
that's
now we know
how
why.
East African women
Hey,
is built. East African women is built
that
like
will have a
that.
brother hitting you with a Stanley Cup. That will. Something
I
like
mean, if you see some
that.
of her videos, she's very much gonna give you energy. Like you know what I'm saying. Like some of her videos, she's like very like I'm that B word. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's how like
She
she's
must have turned
very
that brother down in
Like
the
you
car.
don't
She
need
must
yeah,
no
have turned
man
him
like if
down.
she
to
turn
ask
you down, I can see her like turning you down in
rudely.
Twist in the Knife.
Right.
Like she really going to make sure. And now, as men, we should be able to accept rejection no matter
Can't.
how it comes. Whatever. But some men don't have the strength in their self, in the knowledge of their self. Because the thing is, when you have knowledge of self, you know that who is for you is for you. Like that's one thing I learned that helped me get girls when I was young. I'm gonna tell my son, like, they want to get with you, they're gonna get with you. That's it. You don't gotta try to spit no game. You don't gotta go up and try to be all weird, asking them for their number. Like, you don't got none of that. Live your life. If they want to get with you, even if you think they look nice, they want to get with you, they're gonna choose, they're gonna do it. And that's just how it's always worked for me. So, that helps you with your rejection. And I guess, some of these brothers, they don't got that sense of pride.
I could see that happening. 2 men in the car. She got in, turned one down. The other one started laughing. She twisted a knife. Then bam, straight
That's a shame.
Stanley Steel action. Like,
Yeah, that's still messed
I think
up.
what further
sad.
fueled the response to her situation was like her social media content. I think that red pill group of men did not appreciate that and felt like she deserved it because of her disposition towards I don't watch her content, so I don't know if it's like towards men in general or a specific
Well, she
segment of
got
men.
she got video. First of all, she got into another incident where she was literally like fighting some dude, and it was like a whole thing where she told a story about it. Like, she was like beating them up in the hallway. Like, she keeps getting into like physical altercations. Even the other things that are on her record is like domestic violence and like assault. Like, she keep touching people or getting touched. Like, it's like a thing. But
there's this one video clip that I saw where she like there's this one video clip that I saw where she was talking to the camera. I forget exactly what she was saying, and she turns around, slaps this white dude like across the face, and then walks away and then proceeds to twerk.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like, okay.
I think that was a
skit.
joke though.
It was a skit, supposedly.
It was a skit. Okay,
Yeah,
all
that
right.
was
So
a
I
joke
mean,
to a
though.
whole lot of white
like the
people
fact
saying,
that
"Are you
the fact that those
racist?"
types of videos coming out, it's just like okay, like I listen. All right, everybody who is keep hyper focusing on that type of stuff, like it's like I get it, but at the same time, it still doesn't justify any means of like of anything with our sisters in that regard. Because like it's like because I've had situations where it's like, all right, yes, they twisted the knife, and there was no need to, and it's just like okay. But that's why it's important for us as men to be very, very aware of the fact that like there's just going to be some sisters out there, and quite frankly anybody. But of course, obviously, we're only dating within the community. But they need to be aware, black men, that there's going to be some sisters out there that are not going to have enough understanding of the emotional impact that twisting a knife can be, and they're going to twist. So it's like that's where your self-control, responsibility for your own actions, responsibility for yourself as a
Exactly.
man come into play, and you don't respond in an aggressive way towards you don't do that. That's just you don't do that. There is nothing that a woman can say to your face, that a black woman, especially a black queen, can say to your face that would merit you to then physically assault her. Like there's nothing that a black woman could say that
Have
could
some
ever.
self-esteem. Have some
Mhm.
self-esteem. When a woman turned me down, like especially when I was in my unhealthy phase, like my toxic phase, woman turned me down, bruh. She's like invisible after that. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm off this. Bye. Like, that's it. Like it was never. I don't have some pride in yourself. Like I don't know. I grew up with my father, so I don't know. Maybe he helped me kind of like be a man. I don't know, but have some self esteem. That's all it is. I'm off this. Oh, word. All right. But like after that, it's like she just grew a 12-inch phallus. You know what I'm saying? Like after that, I'd be gay to come back to you. Like no shade to the gay brothers and sisters. We love y'all. But I'm saying I'm not. So I would have to cross that line in order to. I would have to portray myself as a man to go and try to pursue someone after they've made it visible. Like they made it obvious. They made it clear. Even except me, I'm very like intuitive to that type of stuff. Like even if I sit on the couch and she sit on the other side of the couch, that could be I'm off this like immediately. Like it's that simple for me. Like I already compete, you know.
I think that's when they get to the terms that they start using, trying to say, calling them simp, because they just trying to diminish the value of their self to appease another. But I was also gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
Timothy, speaking on what you're saying, to preserve oneself and to understand. I mean, it also took my mind to that black man who jumped on that judge, and I can understand because that judge said something that twisted the knife. She said, "I'm for to give you something to laugh about." And what he do? Ended his whole career. You thought your life was gonna be anything other than that? Now you locked away where she wanted you to be. For real. I mean, because
Yeah.
even with the judge saying that, he could have, filed a complaint. Like, the judge doesn't, a judge is supposed to be a judge. They don't get to come up and come with any type of emotional language to try to upset you. Like, I would have put in, some type of thing to be like, hey, that, I didn't like this. You can put a complaint in on a judge. But instead, he took it upon himself to seal his life forever. Like, because what the judge said was wrong. She shouldn't have been like, oh, well, you've been getting away and skirting off, and I'm for to put you in prison and give you a life sentence. Like, she shouldn't have said that, because you don't play with a man's life like that. But you don't get to try to unalive the judge for doing that. We already know what their whole decorum is. They trying to
Yeah.
put us away. Like,
Right.
Oh, shout out to me, myself, and I for the gift. Shout out.
The only other thing I will say about this situation at this juncture is that if any portion of this story is true, as it appears that it is at this point, I hope that she can maintain a mental state through all of this that doesn't lead to further harm. And I'm gonna just put it like that, because
Yeah.
if the events were to turn in any other way, because of, like, this is now like a third or fourth dragging on, like, a public dragging on social media, especially if there's truth to this. We've seen a number of situations where people,
Yep.
things go left.
Yeah.
And I like the amount of hypocrisy that's going to pop up if something were to happen, people caring, acting like they cared. I know that's going to trigger me. That's going to set me off. But I hope it doesn't get to that point. I hope she's able to cope in
It
some
was
sort of way.
people milking it too, though, man. Like, I seen, TikTok lives where they was bringing her up, and like, I was just like, honestly, y'all kind of milking it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let her get well. Like, why y'all got her up here with a swollen face, like trying to talk to people, like, But I see entertainment media certain things a little bit differently because I worked in the music industry, so I don't believe I don't believe anything makes it to like your phone by accident. Like, everything is intentional. That's why I be so intentional with my platform. I be talking about Pan African propaganda. Like I'm like, but that's because I'm nice enough to tell you it's propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like some of the TikTokers was trying to milk her for clout too, and if the tide turns against her, I think we
Oh,
will
that
see
was
a
so
lot of them
cool,
turn on
He
her.
brother.
got a. You didn't see the dinosaur, brother? You wasn't looking.
He sent you a dinosaur.
Oh, word! Who
Shout
sent
out
it?
SB. Shout out
Shout out
SB.
SB, man. And shout out me, myself, and I. We appreciate you as well.
Shout out Gene too, because I know
I'm
he was hooking it up too.
honestly, I be looking away because sometimes, and if you see in my videos, y'all gonna laugh because I'm gonna tell you. If you look at my videos, a lot of times I'll be closing my eyes while I'm talking like John Henrik Clark, cause looking at my own face while I'm talking kind of mess my head up. Dude, I kind of have to close my eyes and look away when I'm thinking.
You
Yeah. No,
I'm not
anytime
used
I
to
get
seeing
on the
my
live,
own
I gotta
mouth
look to the
moving.
left. Anytime I get on a live, I gotta look to the left because it's just like seeing myself having these conversations. It's like, all right, I'm talking to myself, but nah, I'm really having conversations with people. So I gotta like look to the left in order to be like, okay, I can focus on the point that I'm trying to make rather than like, am I talking to myself? Yeah.
Word. Yeah,
Not
that feels
me.
good.
Not me just looking at myself when I get on here. I look at myself like, what you
Oh,
got to say, girl? No,
no, I
yeah.
mean it's different for women.
Y'all be
The
excited about seeing yourself.
The Quran says a man's test in life is his anger, and a woman's test in life is her vanity.
Oh, Lord.
Uh-oh.
I need to look at Lord. What's wrong with my vanity? Lord. No, look, no. Nah. Oh, well, at least I ain't got lyric vanity. I know I ain't light skinned. I know I'm not. So, nah.
Boy, like I love watching myself. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, Lord, I just admitted it.
We all love, the self appreciation. We all love that. Absolutely, yes,
When I
100%.
first heard that quote, I'm like, nah, that can't be right. Because I know the men's part about the anger, like that's what we talking about with the thing. So a woman's test in life is a vanity, and I'm like, dang, that's interesting because vanity would like would like align with what's best for a woman that's like going to, like, if we think, Charles Darwin, like we think of how, survival behaviors are passed down, right? Like a woman that's vain is all about herself, keeping herself healthy. That's better for the child, is it not? Like, so, maybe there's some something to that. I don't know.
I mean, I
That's
think
what
I understand it, but I feel like the
Mhm.
application would be a bit, well, depending who you're applying it to, right? Because I don't want to
Mhm.
say, like, I know it might sound weird, but I'm gonna say like black vanity, because I feel like there's a
Mhm.
certain level of tax put on black women, especially if you're darker skin. So even to focus on yourself and to make yourself better, it's like the world still really is gonna treat you in vain. And I hate to say it like that, but it's like
Mhm.
there's no level of vanity you can have as a black woman that will still protect you or not protect you, from the harsh realities of what you'll be treated like based on how you look. Because I see that for YT women. Like even the history of
Mhm.
them coming up, it's all about what they look like. Are you slim?
I
Are
wanted to
you
say
pale?
Europeans.
Yes, that's what I'm
Europeans in
saying.
general.
Yes, that
Yeah.
makes sense. And then when you get
I mean,
older, your vanity, like, hey, it's gone. Like
I
you're
mean,
old.
look at how we dress today.
Yeah,
Like
that's
men
facts.
and women. Like, look at how we dress. Like, we wear more form-fitting pants. Like all of that, like showing off. Like that's more vanity. Like, as opposed to back in the day when that was something that was seen as like you're showing off your body, like, you know what I'm saying? Like dudes be having they chest hairs showing, and they, tattoos, and they like in Japan today, you can't even show your tattoos, but like if you look at pictures of people from back in the day, even the 90s, like if you look at the basketball court in the 90s, not the people that's playing, I don't know why they shorts was so high. I guess it was more about aerodynamics or something. I don't know. But if you look at the people watching the game, everybody's in like baggy clothes, suits. People used to get in their Sunday best to go to like sports events, which is kind of wild. But I'm just saying, like, European culture is centered around vanity, individualism. I guess that's part of the game. Oh wow, I just seen a nice picture of Stokely Carmichael. But yeah, all right, y'all. I guess I'm gonna call it quits. What time is it? Hold on. Yeah,
8:30.
yeah, about that time. All right. I appreciate y'all again for another amazing live. Um, thank you to my co-hosts up here, D Diva, KK, um, Timothy, Tia, and Black Swan. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Leisha in the comments. Kira, if you're here, appreciate you. Lovely Rose Petals was with us. SB and me, myself, and I with the gifts. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for helping me reach the goal. Don't forget, you can join our nonprofit, b1initiative.org. Sajess, appreciate you, Queen. And the Black Show, B1ENT, appreciate you. And yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to donate. $ Bring Down Babylon. You got $1, you got $5. Send it to Bring Down Babylon. That is for B1 Initiative, our nonprofit organization where we are educating and telling Africa's telling of African history. I saw a quote from Patrice Lumumba today, and today is the day that is one of the anniversaries of the day that Patrice Lumumba was.
You see what me, myself, and I said? She wants a monthly donation link.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do that. For now, it won't let me create the monthly donation thing because they said our EIN is too new for Stripe. I don't know if you know what Stripe is. It's a payment processor. So they said it's too new. So I guess they said I have to wait 3 to 4 weeks. It's already been almost 2 weeks, right? No, it's been like a week and a half. So I would say give us another week and a half, and I'll send it to you. You're not even the only one waiting, so it's really a blessing that People want to see us complete this project. Patrice Lumumba said, "History will one day have its say, but it will not be the history that is taught in Brussels, Paris, Washington, or the United Nations, but the history which will be taught in the countries freed from imperialism and its puppets." And that is what we're doing with Sankofapedia. That is our goal, to have our telling of our ancestors' history formatted, put nice and neatly in ways, layman's terms. We're going to be very precise with our language, but it's written by brothers and sisters so that brothers and sisters can understand it. And we're also going to have sources linked to every article. Our goal is to make this an academic tool that brothers and sisters can use. And yeah, we're going to tell our history, y'all. So I just think it's great that it's kind of like we're carrying the torch for Patrice Lumumba. If you don't know about him, he was the president of the Congo back in the 60s. He met with Malcolm X, and about a week later, he was unalived. Or yeah, like right after. Malcolm X was unalived in February. It's January 17th. So yeah, like they were all unalived after Malcolm X started forming the Organization of Afro-American Unity, and Kwame Nkrumah, who also met with Malcolm X, was forming the Organization of African Unity. They had decided to unify Africa. They wanted to create the United States of Africa. That's what they wanted to do. The United States of Africa. And then Malcolm X formed his organization so that we could be citizens of the United States of Africa just by being African in America. Like, he wanted to make a worldwide nation of African people. That was what their plan was. And Patrice Lumumba went to the richest part of the Congo. He became president. He went to the richest part of the Congo and was going to take back the resources of Africa in order to enact his plan. The CIA came in swiftly, tortured him, and unalived him, and put his body in a vat of acid, to the point where the only thing we have left of him is a gold tooth that one of the family of the CIA members held on to and decided to keep as a souvenir. Yeah, so that's what happened. They got Patrice Lumumba, and then they got Malcolm X a little bit after that. And now Malcolm X's family is now suing because the CIA has been found guilty of conspiring to unalive him as well. It wasn't just the brother from the mosque in Newark, New Jersey. So that's what we're trying to carry on, y'all, because the CIA put a damper on things, but we're going to keep it going. We want a United States of Africa, and then we will do our part in the diaspora to connect with Africa to be citizens abroad of the United States of Africa. That connection would be the most powerful union in the world. That would make us unstoppable. There would be no more protect Black women. There would be no more none of this stuff, because America would have to do what they have to do because we would control our resources. It would be that's game over if that happened. They know that. So it starts with learning. So let's teach the children so that we can do this. Everyone has to be on the same page of who we are and who our history is. So it starts with learning. It starts with everyone knowing what the hell is going on. So let's start there. Sankofapedia. Appreciate y'all. One love. I will holler at y'all tomorrow. I'll be back up. D, you want to close us out, sister?
I just want to let y'all know, particularly the cave coochies and the sweet pickle carriers. If you ain't Black, hop in that tub before you hop in Black business with your dirty bottom.
All